Oh, we're live. We
All
are
right.
live. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened there, everybody. There was errors showing for me, and then Robert had an error, and then I went to press live and it said there was an error, try again, error, try again, error, try again, and we just couldn't go live. So I had to make a new post, everybody. So everybody come over and we're here. Anyway, on the hangout today, this afternoon, it's very early for the Americans, isn't it, guys?
Little after 9 o'clock, huh?
8:30 over here. 8:26.
Yeah, anyway, so it's early for you guys, but on the hangout, we've got Joe Hill and we've got Robert Foertsch. So, hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Good to see you all here.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a bit weird, that getting on, wasn't it? But they obviously had it as an error.
It happens.
You think, have I got strike or something? I can't go live. But no, it wasn't. There's some error, and we're live now. And yeah, just saying, you two met each other, didn't you?
Yeah,
We
at
did.
the Denver. Where I always have trouble saying it, the Flat Earth International Conference, right? Yeah.
Correct. That's the one. Yeah, that was an interesting event. I'm glad to.
Oh, he's losing his internet or something.
He's there.
You're cutting out a little, Robert.
Okay, so I know what's happening there. Okay,
there we go.
So I'm gonna. Yeah, it's okay. Wi-Fi not connected. I'm turning my. What's happened now? Can you still hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what it's one of the details that happens for me is that if I playing it, thank you very much. That's an Elvis restroom going by on the. Let's see if I can flip that around. It's a porta potty transfer thing there with Elvis on it. Let's see. Oh, it's kind of funny. Oh, you couldn't see that. I couldn't switch the camera around. What ends up happening if I have it on if I have it on Wi-Fi and I walk outside, it's a signal conflict. Are we still good? Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, we're fine. Sorry, a message came through for me.
All right. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna try and flip this around. Okay, so we've got the sun coming up over the Atlantic Ocean, right over there. Now in the summertime, it'll come up in the middle of the view over there, right about in the middle over that tree. And here's the Truth Mobile. I might have to pull it into the Truth Cave there. I'm not sure. I had to take my Truth off the door because of homeowners association complaint. Evidently, I was in some kind of a violation. I don't.
Can't tell the truth.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. I may have to put the car in the Truth Cave, kind of like the Bat Cave. Y'all remember the Batman growing up, or that was in the '60s for me. Now, Joe, did you see Batman too, or not?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't watched a movie in 10 years, but
it was a series, Batman.
Oh, you mean like the original Batman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch that. I mean,
Batman, that one.
There you go. You've got it. So I don't know if I'm going to have to pull this into the garage there, as you say in the UK. But I've got this works great at the beach when we've got a lot of people here. We expect 20 million here this upcoming year, and parking isn't a problem for that. I can go
that looks like
anywhere.
fun.
It is. It's a liquid cooled shaft drive. And these are big.
That's a Honda.
Yeah. It's
nice.
A Honda 500. It's a 1984.
And I got an 83 Goldwing.
Oh, nice. That's shaft drive too.
Yeah, I love that thing. I drive it everywhere.
Oh yeah, and like the wheels are gyroscopes. They really
Yep.
affect the way the motorcycle handles. Well, and part of what I wanted to talk about, like for me, I used to race professional level motocross, and part of the dynamic that I've learned with that is just how to not only ride the motorcycle, different health considerations. How can I do what I do better and healthier? And that's part of what I've. This has been a bit of an investigative and explorative journey as we've learned to question just about everything. So one of the dynamics that I have is to keep the harmful additives out of my body, out of my mind, off of, all of that, and then to put in healthy vitamins and minerals and all of that. But that's a different aspect. Karen, did you want to address the videography and photography that you had created for the watch page?
Well, Joe can show it again if that's what you'd like to show it, but yeah, he'll show it off his computer. But yeah, I made two, didn't I? Because there was, well, you're always capturing things, Robert, but the
I
bits
am.
that you pointed out to me was the funny reflections in the camera, and then the sun clinging to the ship.
Okay. Now, one of the other questions that I had for you, Karen, do you see likes or dislikes on the video, the watch page? Is there anything like that that shows up yet?
Yeah, I can do. I do. Well, I'm looking at just the watch page and the Hangout, so I can look on my phone.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it shows whether there's likes or dislikes yet. I wanted to speak to that if it's possible to know that now.
There's 3 likes and 0 dislikes on mine.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. I know that whenever I'm on, there's typically a few dislikes, and I was just wondering how soon they pop on. So, Karen, Joe, when they're...
Anyway, it doesn't matter, Robert. We just carry on anyway. You're our guest, and we love you, so don't worry about it.
Oh, that's all good. I'm good with that. I just wanted to address the topic, though, of in the truth movements, we get people that are also, even though we're aware of the global lie, there's still contempt prior to investigation, thinking, oh, Robert Foertsch is on, we know what he's going to say. I've got something to tell whoever might be thinking that. I don't exactly know what I'm going to say yet, just to kind of whet your, or to give you a little interest in what may happen, because there's it's interesting to say the least. So go ahead and carry on.
Oh, there was something else that you would liked as well. It's upside down stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, good to see you back, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I had to restart my computer.
Oh, damn annoying.
No.
Anyway, I'm glad that you're back. Yeah, there was these 3 things: that funny reflection in your iPhone on the beach, the sun clinging to the ship, and upside down stuff.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of upside down videos.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I think it's great. You know what? It reminds me of some of the things that, like, in my videos and stuff, every once in a while I'll have something that says reality check, and just like maybe between 2 parts of a video or something, like in the Bible when it says all these beasts that deceive the world, that they all arise out of the earth. It calls them kings. It says they're kings that arise out of the earth. And
Wow.
And in Revelation, it comes up out of the earth. In Daniel, the first one is lifted up from the earth. The second one is told to arise and devour flesh. The third one's given dominion of the host of heaven. That's this one right here.
Wow.
And the fourth one is the rocket that lands. Revelation 13:13, it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of the miracles that he had power to do in the sight of the beast. And you know what else? Guess what? The dragon gives the beast its power, seat, and great authority in Revelation 13:2. Well, SpaceX Dragon gives this thing its this ISS its power. It resupplies it. So these prophets told this space exploration story, well, 2,000 years ago, and like, I don't know, 2,600 years ago. Dan, or how long was I think somewhere around there. It doesn't really matter exactly when, but these prophets, they told us about this space program and how we'd be blaspheming God's tabernacle and there'd be strong delusion. That's what I think it is. I think that there's strong delusion.
Well, see, and that part of the dynamic, even as we're going to look at the videography and photography, we can see a certain thing and then have our own. I have a different perspective on what we think is going on there, and that's where a lot of people get upset.
Yeah, it hurts their what's solid in their life. They say don't test that, you know. But that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's basically trying to determine, I believe, what the reality of the situation is. So, Karen, do you have that ready to look at, or how did you want to address that?
Joe will have to play it. Do you mind playing that? Which one do you want to do first then? Because Joe won't mind, and I think Joe's got some similar pictures anyway. Which bit do you want to tackle first, Robert?
Oh, whichever one shows up.
I can let's see here. I have, for some reason, I closed up that link, so give me a couple seconds here and I will get it opened up.
And
sorry
Joe's
about that.
got a new background as well.
What's that?
Joe's got a new background as well.
I noticed that. Yeah,
I'm gonna be doing that the whole time.
Also, Robert, and he met you, Mikey Smith, in the chat room. He met you at the conference, and he says,
"Hey, Mikey." Yeah, I remember meeting Mikey.
Let's see here. Where are we? Okay.
Are you good at sharing, Joe, or do I have to move the screen?
I think I can
move the screen just to be on the safe side. We've already had enough problems today.
Yeah. So let's see here. If I go, I'm trying to figure out how to get it onto my screen. Should I just do a screen share and just share? Just do that. Do the application page.
Yeah, I've moved it over now, so don't worry.
Okay. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Let's see here. Sorry.
I've got Robert on there.
I'm not a very good computer guy yet. Let's see. Where are we? That's the Google Hangouts page. Oh yeah, but I don't want to give that. I don't want to put that link up on the screen though. Can you take?
You put.
I think I have to just open a new
application window.
How do you? Let's see here.
Go to share screen, and it will say entire screen or application window.
Yeah, and I didn't have it open to choose yet, so I'm opening it again. So, I'm sorry, Karen. I'm terrible at this stuff.
You're terrible, Joe. I'll let you off. It's okay.
Just this once, right?
Just this once.
Okay. I am getting there. Sorry, guys.
So now you know how I feel when I had to make another hangout. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it feels like
Ages.
we don't like wasting anybody's time. That's what it comes down to. We don't you know. Okay, so I have it open now. So now I should be able to go to the whoops. There we go. Let's see, where is it? Right here.
Hey, that's it. We there?
I think so. Let me whoops. Okay, are you seeing? Oh man, I'm on the wrong.
That's
okay,
it. That's it.
It's the right one?
Yeah, it's there.
I just have to find it now. Okay, there we are. So you see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, should I do well, I'm not going to do the sound because I have headphones on, so I'd have to switch that up. I hope that's fine. I'll just hit play and Should I skip forward a little bit?
Yeah, God, you can slip past that bit.
Right about here?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go full screen. Yeah, this is a strange because obviously we know there's thick atmosphere and a lot of water sitting in the air above that. I wonder if those are two smokestacks, like from an engine or something.
Yeah, there are, and there's also they're diesel pumps, and they're diesel engines that drive the pumps that move the sand. I believe you're looking at 7,000 horsepower of diesel engine up there.
So
That's a
that
lot.
it
That's
almost looks, doesn't it almost look like that's could possibly be exhaust from the smokestack, picking up, refracting some of the light from the sun. I don't really
there.
know, but I mean,
It's very possible, and that's part of the dynamic when we look at forensic. I guess that would be the term, investigation of photography. We're looking at something that is very unusual.
yeah,
We're looking at a ship that's got a special design to it, and so what that is could be um, driven by the temperature differential that's of the heat from the engine. That's a
okay, yeah,
possibility.
the
And then
different temperature affecting the light different,
oh yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And
So
you can
like
see it going back. You can see the sun is shaping itself again.
Yeah,
yeah. So it's very, very interesting
And if
how
it is
that
what you say it is, why isn't it doing it now?
I think
well
it's
I'm
a good part of that is the exhaust, like Robert was saying, the different temperature of that exhaust.
and there's another there will be the engine exhaust on for the drive to the ship coming out the back there as
Okay,
well.
so they have two big diesels on there or whatever, two big engines.
Well, there's at least two. There may be more. I would
Oh
think
wow,
that
look at
there's,
that.
yeah,
That
yes,
was just interesting there. Yeah, I
Yeah, the
don't,
sun, the lava lamp sun.
yeah,
yeah. So that I mean, apart from the ship, is what I mean. It's very interesting. I've seen how the sun appears through the atmosphere at a variety of temperature, humidity, and wind direction um, kinds of anomalies, or what would appear to be anomalies. And I'm kind of somewhat of an expert on it in that I've experienced a lot of the different um, weather conditions that are related to what we're looking at. It doesn't necessarily mean I know exactly what's going on. It means that I have more data than somebody that just looks at that and wonders what's going on. Like
yeah.
the like the temperature it was outside, the humidity, and I don't have all that documented per se. I just what I have noticed is when the sun appears on the horizon, there's normally a gust of wind that moves towards it. I feel it hitting my back. That's
Okay.
quite that's quite often for
And
whatever
I know
reason.
you're out there like every day. I mean,
A lot of
uh,
days.
a
A
lot of
lot of
days.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably to put it in perspective, probably 250 days of the year I'm out there at sunrise. That's a
Yeah.
lot of days.
Yes,
And
it is.
and
And you get
so
familiar with what you're seeing and
right.
experiencing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Some days I won't be out there because I've got other things that I'm working on. But the idea that there's similarities, I think, is important. Now, I because I don't have all the temperature, humidity, and wind direction data in front of me for each and every one of those occurrences, I'm basically operating off of memory. What was it like? Now, this day here, we're looking at in the low 40s with a wind that's coming out of the northwest. It's moving towards the sun right
Okay.
there. It's at my back, and I'm zoomed in probably in the neighborhood of 75 times. And if I zoom in to the fullest, all we'll get it'll way overwhelm the camera. We won't see much of anything. There is an infrared filter on there that really
Okay.
doesn't change the color of the photography. I believe it removes some of the glare, and I don't know all the data on what it's doing to the imagery that I'm capturing. I know that it looks a lot like what I saw. What I mean is what I could see with my naked eye, and then it wasn't doing any tricky fake kind of stuff at all. It's
Yeah.
and so what we have is the optical zoom, and then we've got the digital capture of what we're looking at. So to me, what I could see
Can I just say
magnified.
something very quickly? We're saying that, but we can
Sure.
see another sun on the water, like the lava lamp thing. And Joe went, whoa, because he saw the other sun, didn't you, on the water?
Yeah. Where is that? Let me find that.
So, I mean,
Okay.
like, we're talking about whether it's smoke or whatever. I mean, but look what the sun's doing.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
some kind of reflection. I don't know. I'm not, just like Robert's saying, I'm not saying I know exactly
Robert
what's happening on,
captures that
but
all
right
the time.
here,
He captures that all the time.
look at this though. This is awesome. That's the sun coming up, but you know,
It's a
that's,
reflection off of the water.
yeah, because you can see that that black line we see going across the screen here. I think that the water level is actually more like right here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
I think it appears that it's here, but I think the water's actually like more like up here, and that we're seeing like a mirrored reflection off of like a smooth surface. You know what I mean?
Well, see what's happening too. We've got the waves, and they're going to reflect the light differently.
Yep.
That's part of and that has to do with the size of the surf at that location, and that's not something that I could determine when I'm standing roughly 20 feet above sea level on a walkout at the beach. I can't know what kind of a wave height there is, you know,
With swell and everything.
yeah, and see, I don't even know what the distance of that line of convergence where we're seeing that. I find it interesting, and it's pretty. That's pretty much what I do with it, you know. So
do you have
go
any
ahead.
idea how far the boat is away, or is that's just something you really can't determine with the video, I suppose?
That's an excellent question. It's in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 miles, something like that.
These cameras are amazing, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I know that it's 3 to 5 miles because that's the distance they're going out to harvest the sand that will end up being pumped up on the beach. It's not a random ship going by. It's part of this.
Specifically,
Yeah, it's part of a routine where they are going that distance, 3 to 5 miles. And when I say 3 to 5, I'm not saying like I don't know. I believe that that's about the distance that they start harvesting the sand, and then they turn around and come back. It's like they go offshore to take the sand where it shouldn't be taking it away from the beach. They don't want to create underwater anomalies that are going to contradict what they're wanting to do. In other words, they want to go far enough out that it's truly renourishing the beach. So that's part of the dynamic. I've never seen what we're looking at here. I've never captured that before. I don't mean like, obviously not exactly. I mean like a ship at sunrise going through. Never, ever. And I haven't seen much of it either, to be quite honest with you. What's different about this, and one of the reasons why it's such such an interesting shot is normally there wouldn't be a ship that close to the shoreline. Not
Okay.
where I am, because it's not like a ship lane. You know, there are other
Okay. It's not
locations
like a
that,
normal routine or a route or whatever.
yeah. Now there may be shrimp boats that do that. That's in their area.
That is a big
But
boat.
it is, and they'll move roughly 1,500 dump truck load equivalents of sand.
Wow.
And what they'll do then is use the diesel pumps to pump that mixture up on the beach. Now, of what you're looking at on the videos that shows so Karen, I'm talking about sand and not what we're looking at with the
Should we
sun.
switch back?
That's okay. Also, you know that bit when Joe said about the water? When I took some of Robert's other footage, you could see that the sun was under the line of the water, that the reflection thing. So I know what you mean, Joe.
Let's see here.
So the other one was actually for the hangout today.
Should I just stop screen sharing here?
Yeah, there was another one with the reflection. Remember, with the camera walking through the puddle?
Okay, let me go find it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I just have to find it here.
That's on my channel, the landing page. If you go
Should
to
I
my
just go
channel.
there? That might be easier. I don't know where that link.
Do you want me to send you the link again? Hang on.
I think I have it. It's yeah, I think I have it here. I'm just gonna copy, or wait, I can't. Let's see here. Copy link address, and then I'm gonna go over to the other page. And
So if you go to my YouTube channel, it's the video that plays like when you go to visit. And I believe it's between
or this is the
50
one we just watched. Okay. Yeah, we'll just go to your channel. I'm sorry.
I can get it. I can get it off of here. I've got it right here. I can put it in
the watch page.
Yeah, hang on. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, that's where it was. It was in the chat over there. Okay, I remember now. Let's see. So I'm still screen sharing, right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Where are we? I don't know where to go.
There you go. It's in the chat room now.
Did I lose the?
I've put it in the chat room, Joe.
Okay, I have to find that now. I don't know where that went. I don't know what I'm doing.
I can put it on the hangout here. Hang on 2 seconds. Let me just do it.
Okay,
Copy.
sorry about that.
So right, you see it on this actual, the hangout that only we see.
Okay, I gotta open it. Where is that?
There you go. Just
there we are. Okay, sorry about that. Whoops. Wow, I'm terrible at this. Okay, which page is it? It's not my Facebook.
I'll put it on Robert for a minute.
Okay, yeah. I gotta find. I don't know which one is the Hangouts page.
Hang on.
Okay.
Should I send it to you on Facebook?
Here, I'll get it here in just in a second. Okay. It should be. You should be able to switch back now. No, that's the same one, I guess.
Well, there you go. I've sent it to you on Facebook.
Sun touches a ship. Okay, I'll
No, that's it. It should say.
Oh, it was. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Where do we want to start it right about?
Well, if you've got that video, it happens at about 50 minutes.
No, this is my one. This is my one. Just play the whole thing. I've got it just from that bit on the wall. There you go.
Oh, okay.
You can see them there. There's the reflection. You see it up there?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Nice.
This is your video, right, Robert?
It is. Yeah, that's about 7 miles away from here, and it's a direct recording onto my iPhone 10. And the ripples are showing up in the in what would normally be viewed as like a lens flare up above there.
Wow.
And I've never seen that before. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. I don't know that the digital quality of a broadcast captures it like direct
You know what?
recording does.
Do I have my quality? I think I can go a little better. 480. I guess that's the best I got right here.
So part of what we're looking.
That's
Go
cool.
ahead.
I've
Yeah.
never even thought about this before.
So part of what we're looking at too, I mean, that's very interesting, no doubt. It's a liquid mirror. It's a sea level liquid mirror. It's the body of water that covers the face of the earth, and it's a plane mirror. So what I'm wanting to help people to realize when you go out, whether you're at the beach or you're living in the middle of where do you live, Joe?
I live in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay,
Minnesota.
so
Yeah,
you're
sure.
in so your water right there is going to be pretty cold, and
Yeah,
it's going to
right now.
yeah. So you'll have a lot of ice, and then but what's interesting about the reflectivity of the water is that whether it's happening at the ocean or it's a puddle in your driveway or the ditch, it's the physics and properties of water. Now, even though it's cold there, when you take a shower or a bath, all of those physics of the reality of what happens continues to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the light source and the shadows and the reflections. The reflections have to do with the eyes of the observers.
Mm-hmm.
Each individual out there has a different perspective on it. Now, also each individual that's watching this video is seeing what are we seeing? Well, we're seeing what looks like probably a family, very likely, and we see blended families out there and wherever we are. People are very reflective at the beach. That's one of the other things. Not only do they reflect off of the water, they reflect on their lives, their past, their present, their future. We've got a lot of shattered lives all around us.
I just wonder for the chat room while you're talking about that. I just wonder for the chat room, maybe Joe could just put his that's the same one again. Go back to the beginning. Just put your cursor where that thing is. That's it. So
are you talking about up here?
Yeah, it's a reflection in the
yeah. That's I'm not sure, but see down here too. To me, that looks like a reflection of the glass on in front of the actual camera lens.
Yeah, so what we're seeing right where she's walking through right now.
Yeah, down here.
Yeah, that's actually what's causing it. That's the origin of the ripples.
Yeah. And you know what? Let me just say what I think is so interesting about this. This is why I love talking with other people that are seeing truth, because look right now. I'm just gonna pause it. See right now, there's the water's still. So like you were saying, Robert, it's a mirror, and we're seeing the sun mirrored off of there. But once the water is troubled, that just made me think of that that pool in, I don't remember which chapter in John it is, where an angel would trouble the water, and then the first person that would touch the that it just made me think of that. But when she starts walking by and the water gets troubled, what's happening, that this is the first time I've ever even thought about this, Robert, and I know you've probably thought about it many times, but this reflection, obviously the angle of that mirror is changing as she walks by, and it actually, because it's changing and it's rippling and the physics of water trying to settle back to that mirror again, we see a full-time reflection. Like if I was to I don't know if you can see the little box down there. See there's no like line of reflection at 140, but as I go here, see how that line just continues on, and then eventually it'll disappear when it settles again. That's just interesting to me.
Well, it is. what I've been saying out here for years is that that's a sea level liquid mirror. You know, when we think of a mirror, I mean, until I started doing this, I believe a lot of folks would think mirror is glass and you got to be careful because you can break it, right?
Yeah.
Well, a liquid mirror is actually very much the liquid mirrors have always been around. A lot of times I just didn't notice them. I didn't realize that that's what I was that's what it was per se, but it is. It's liquid mirrors all around.
Yep. And you know what I like to point out about that is because the first instinct that anyone has is, oh, well, no. What that is you're just assuming that water's flat, and what it actually is, like, this is people professing themselves to be wise when they actually became fools. But they say, well, no, it curves around the sphere because of gravity. And I say, no. Me and Robert and Karen and thousands of us are telling you that no, that's only a theory that you have. That's just a theory you have, because we're looking at a mirror, and water, the physics of water don't rely on gravity. Like if you were to take and pour a pile of water over here in this side of this little pond, it's still gonna, 5 minutes later, it's still gonna be a perfect mirror, and it's just gonna be a lot higher over here than it was. It's gonna, I like to say, if there was a lake and you added a foot to the left side of the lake, you just added 6 inches to the whole lake, period. And
or like my grandmother would say, as a little boy, peed in the lake, every drop counts.
Yeah.
And we can't see it. We can't notice if somebody pees in the lake or the ocean, but it's happening. So there's things happening under the water that we can't see. We can't see the depth of that water. However, we pretty much have a good idea that it's shallow because of the way that the whether it's the person walking across, we pretty much have an idea she's not all of a sudden going to go over her head like a sharp-edged hole is out there.
Watch this.
So
I just wanted to point this out. Watch this right at the beginning. You can tell that they're coming because see those ripples ahead of her. See that?
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice that till right now. They're there for a long time before she got there.
So this video is like 2.5 hours long or so, and later on in the video, there's a man that sits down in the towards the end of the puddle there with a dog. And
should I go find that, or is it?
If you want to just scroll through, you'll find them.
Well, this is Karen's, so it's a compilation.
Gotcha. Okay, so he's probably not in there, but that has to do with the stages of life. We'll see people out there with a puppy, and then the puppy gets older, and then we see people out there holding hands, and then I see some people walking their dogs separately. I'll be out there all day sometimes, and I'll see the husband walk the dog, and then later the wife is walking the same dog. I know that. The guests that are visiting from Minnesota or Scandinavia or wherever in the world, they aren't aware. Quite often, I would think they wouldn't have the point of perspective of knowing the individual dogs, and that, it looks like they've got a very distant relationship with one another. They're not. And for me, I'll spend a lot of time out there, and I can't get my wife Joni to come out to the beach with me. It's sad. So as Karen and I were talking about earlier, as I was preparing for today's broadcast, it wasn't only preparing for the day's broadcast, it was preparing for the rest of the broadcasts of my life, not of me just projecting myself out there. It's what I'm able to capture and share with people. So on my approaching 1,000 videos I've got out there now. People can watch them, see ships going upside down. It's really a challenge to do upside down videography.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Did you have to make a special mount to like for your camera to do that, or how are you doing that? I'm just curious.
I'm holding the camera.
Okay.
So when I hold a camera upside down for hours, it's very strenuous.
Yeah.
And to keep it zoomed in and steadied, sometimes I'll
Very
use
difficult.
yeah. Now I can use simple things like a pair of gloves or a good microfiber towel and
Mhm.
set it on a railing, which is handy. I mean, a good microfiber towel for videography is handy to have with me
Yeah.
to clean a lens or to steady the camera. What it does is it allows me to show what people are actually believing. You know, when we, like I've said, when a meme isn't enough, let there be memes, lots of memes, video memes. I
Oh
started
yeah.
out doing that years ago. I think about 3 years ago it was when I did the bicycles riding upside down and then the
Mhm.
people walking. It's about a 30-second long video, but it's to help people understand that that's not possible. It's just not
Yeah. It
possible.
isn't.
We
That is delirious. Like to actually, if a person thinks about it now, that's an interesting thing. I'm not trying to interrupt you, but that
That's
is an
okay.
interesting thing that we do have evidence of something supernatural happening here. Because I mean, I give my testimony that something happened in my life, and I think Robert and Karen probably give the same testimony. But I just it's so important that people understand that the reason why we're, you could call it, obsessed with this subject is because it's the most important subject for the time that we're living in, is these lies that we've been
And
raised to believe.
it brings us together.
Yes, it does. And what I think, I mean, everyone can have their own thoughts on it, but I think what we have clearly is um, that we have the book of Revelation happening and the things that are written about at the end. I mean, the things that are going to happen at the end, there's going to be, the whole world's going to be deceived. And then um, there's these people that are going to get sealed in their forehead and they're going to believe. Oh, there we go. We got some upside down video here.
Yeah, it's another one of Robert's favorite subjects right now.
Yeah.
It's right on though. Right on. You can't drive a car upside down. It just won't stick to the road if the road's above you. It won't.
That's right. And that's part of where um, helping people to see where that not only don't we have curvature, we have the impossibility of living on a spinning, wobbling, and of course gyrating globe. It's not happening. It's not possible. Not
Yep.
You know, I couldn't play a game of pool, couldn't take a shower, couldn't drive a car. None of us could. So part of the dynamic that I believe to be accurate is that when you think about level on a moving object, a moving sphere, there would never be level. It's not that D Marble can get in a plane and fly. That and I believe that was a valuable example. It's further one of those realities showing that yeah, we planes fly level for the most part. You know, apart from taking off and landing. Reality exposes the global lie. I like to say that for the people that are really full of themselves and how brilliant they are. Well, reality shows that you're deceived, man. If you believe you're living on a globe, I know you're deceived. So yesterday I was talking to my wife and she's telling me how the whole family believes I'm deceived. I said, well, if you believe you live on a globe, I don't care what kind of letters you have around your name and what kind of wonderful things you're doing for humanity. I know you're deceived about that. Now, these are also people that believe they're born again. I said, well, you know what? You're wrong on the globe and about that being born again. Well, you don't seem to think it's important that the truth of the creation matters. Oh, but
Yeah, yeah.
but they're saying I'm the one that's deceived. So I'm doing a house cleaning and organizing here, and it has to do with I'm going to have things situated where I want them in the house to facilitate what I do, and it's not really going to be based on the opinion of where my wife Joni would like me to hang this picture, that picture, or this is an area that I'm working on to help people see the impossibility of the globe. I will do some inverted pool
Let me.
demonstrations. Go ahead.
Sorry, but I gotta. You're making me too surprised or too excited here to read you a verse. Because well, what you're stating in a in a way is you're saying that obviously we all love our families and we all love more than anything, but and it's not like we're choosing something over them. We're actually called by a much higher power to do exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to read you a verse, Robert, that kind of talks to that. It's Isaiah 42 verses 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. So I'm thinking like Jesus when I read that. But if we read on, we find out that this isn't a prophecy about Jesus. This is a prophecy about God's sons and daughters. It says to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison,
Mm-hmm.
and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. And then verse 16 says, and I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and will not forsake them.
So in the context of that, Joe, I've got I'll just say the name, Jaron Campanella. He watched my video that I was on with Not Exactly Normal, and he was talking to the issue of me saying I got set free from alcohol and drug addiction. And Jaron is saying, I believe Robert did that. And I'll tell you what, Jaron, if you watch this, I tried for 30 some years to try stopping that. Actually, closer to 40 years. Actually, my first starting to drink alcohol, I was 6 years old. I started drinking alcohol in excess at 6 years old, and I could never really let that go. So what happened? I'm walking in a path that I did not know. I have a power that I did not have.
And that's all in here too. It's specific. These chapters like 40 through 50 in Isaiah is the story of this happening at the end. And what you just said, you had a life. We could sum it up by saying you had a life that was where you struggled with addiction, and among many other things, I'm sure that came along with that. And we could probably call a lot of that iniquity, couldn't we?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I wanted to say real quickly, though, I'm not upset with Jaron for seeing it differently. What I wanted to illustrate to Jaron, if he watches this, or people that look on that have a biblical perspective, or don't, just anybody looking at it, I would simply say I thought I was born again until I actually was. And so I used to believe the Bible was a fairy tale. Then I came to believe it was real, and I still couldn't do it. So believing the truth isn't believing. I believe it's only by God's grace anybody can love and believe the truth, let alone find it. Yep. Logan Paul, when he's looking me in the face and interviewing me, and I'm interviewing him, put a sticker, my YouTube truth sticker, on his forehead as he's interviewing me. And I said, what are you going to do when the truth is looking you right in the face? Pontius Pilate, when he's standing
Yeah.
before, when Jesus is standing before him, he says, what is truth?
What is truth?
Truth is standing right before him. He couldn't see the truth. So we have this, this even in the watching of this video where I'm talking exactly right now, I'm convinced that people think, well, Robert takes pretty pictures, but the whole Jesus thing, he's a little too carried away with that. It's like, hey, y'all, I got something to tell you. I didn't take pretty pictures before, and I didn't have a pretty life before. In fact, things are a bit difficult right now. However, I have a passion, purpose, perspective, and a power to do what I previously didn't have. There's a, like a joke, there's a new sheriff in town. He kicked out all the stuff that I couldn't stop doing. And I'm grateful for that. I was a blind man that's now able to see. I was a dead man that's now alive.
Amen.
And so all that's going on, and God is not a cosmic killjoy taking the pleasure out of life.
That's what the world would teach. Like churches in the world, they teach a different kind of God than the one that I read in the Bible.
Yeah. Now, in the context of that too, a lot of these feel-good churches that are deceived and family members that are deceived think that Jesus came to bring peace and unity. Well, he out of his own mouth said that he came to bring division. And by nature, the truth is divisive.
He came to save the world, but he also came to bring the sword.
So those that are saved are not going to be in hell, right?
Yeah, they're not going to be.
They're saved from that. However, we understand that there's a whole lot of people going to be there. Who will that be? I don't know. I don't decide that. That's not for me to know. What I would say is all those that God determined would be there because he's large and in charge. He's the one that makes that determination. Now, there's a lot of people that believe they decide to be a child of God or not. Well, I don't believe that's biblical. So in the context of the video that we're showing with those ripples, that's the Gospel of John and a portion of the book of Acts. But the Gospel of John is a couple hours long. It's about an hour and 50 some minutes long. It's my favorite book of the Bible. I know a lot of the go-to passages for the haters of Scripture will go to Deuteronomy and talk about stoning children and why did God have the men, women, children, and animals killed of a village? What about that? Well, there's a lot going on there that people don't really want to look to, but they're going to find the answer they want to believe. Oh, they want to have sex with who and whatever they want, so the Bible's a fairy tale. Okay, knock yourself out. You want to be a heroin addict and rape, pillage, and do all that? Yeah, go right ahead. And we see it. Oh, a meth addict, Breaking Bad, you got to go do all that? Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Well, I'll tell you what. I had enough of my self-indulgence and trying to make my life work. And I was addicted to pharmaceutical drugs, self-prescribed drugs like alcohol. I would like in that not exactly normal. I mentioned to Dylan, I used to drink vodka for breakfast and smoke cigarettes in the shower. I know people that are in the truth movement that are still struggling with doing the same kind of stuff. This entry point of realizing we're being lied to is not some kind of oasis of serenity at
exactly.
all.
Can I read another verse? Can I interrupt you and read another verse? I'm sorry. Just when you're saying this, and this is important, like I really in my heart, like I really want people like Jaron, and then I have a lot of friends on Facebook that I care about. I care about these people. I don't necessarily know them, but I care about them a lot. And there's a lot of things that they're just not seeing. And the reason why Robert's able to come onto this show and to have his family thinking that he's deceived and continue on with his life and continue on with the purpose that God gave him and the love for the truth. I think we read about that in the Bible too, the love for the truth. But in Isaiah, again, same book, it says, every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. Now that it describes, obviously, it's talking about the earth. It says valleys and mountains and hills, and it says the valleys will be lifted and the mountains will be made low. That's obviously a flat earth. And it says right here, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. What that's saying is that flat earth has been in your Bible, not only as the cosmology of the world we live in, but it was also said by all these prophets that at the end, there's going to be a new song. And Jesus said there's going to be a gospel of the kingdom preached. Every prophet in the Bible, Zechariah said that there would be prophets that are ashamed of their vision, but they wouldn't deceive.
So like even in that, there's multiple, I believe, layers of the passage you just read.
Yep,
in
there
this is. In the straightening out and the leveling out, that I believe has to do with our lives and how that can be. And one of the go-to verses that I pretty typically think about every day as I interact with people is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. They refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So in the context of the truth movement, and I believe ultimately there's one truth movement, and there's a lot of different emphasis that people have on that, like what happened on 9/11. Did we land on the moon? The JFK thing. What about GMOs, vaccinations, and to eat meat or be a vegan? Or there's all kinds of aspects of this world and life that people have as priorities. What I would simply say is there's the truth and everything else. And it's so important, I believe, to be focused and humble enough to have God reveal what the truth actually is, so that even though there are people that are champions of the of cosmology or exposing the lies of humanity, what is the truth about all that? What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? What will it profit if I figure out all the deceptions except for the biggest one that's going to end me in hell? That I could work my way to heaven. Jaron talks about a creator. Well, who is that? If it's not going to be the God of the Bible, which one does he have? We talked about it at length. I told him that I believe the Bible's an autobiography. It's God wrote it.
What about, I agree with you 100%. God wrote it and he protects it all through time. Because remember how you brought up the foundation of the world?
Mm-hmm.
I believe right now there's a group of people in the world, and I think that we would be in that group, but there's a group of people in the world standing up, giving their lives for the truth of the Word of God.
Oh, absolutely.
And
it's going to cost them their life. They're going to, and that could even be me. I mean, I could be sitting here, and there could be my brother-in-law lived in Columbia, South Carolina. His wife was in the kitchen. She heard somebody break down the door. There was a home invasion, and she wasn't harmed or anything, but it kind of freaked her out. I mean, that kind of thing could happen to me in a heartbeat. Right down the road, there was, we have murders around. There's all kinds of stuff that happen all around. I've got a friend who's got a worldwide ministry. He was trying to sound relatable, I think, to people he was talking to. He's got a 501c3. He's walking a fence and trying to not offend people and all of that. But he said he's like 250 pounds. He's still afraid of the dark, and he's supposed to be a Bible believing Christ follower. And I thought, you must know a different. There's something going on there. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. And I'm outing the deceiver. You know, we've got people in Northern California being incinerated by directed energy weapons, laser weaponry, by aircraft that don't even have very likely a pilot, a living human being. It can be artificial intelligence.
Now,
It's more Terminator kind of stuff. Go ahead.
I have a thought about that. I think, first of all, and I'm, I can't say that I'm right or anything, and I don't really care if I'm right. It's more a conversation to me. But do we have any kind of evidence at all that, because these directed energy weapons that were mounted on this plane, it was like on the nose of the plane.
Mm-hmm.
That was a prototype that they made one of, and it never went off the ground. And I guess what I'm saying is, I think that the scriptures are a lot better at explaining those fires than we are. That's what I think.
So like on that, there's been a lot of what people are talking about, seeing blue laser type light in the midst of the fires. There is evidence of not conventional burns going on. Lots of
Yes,
it.
definitely.
So,
even like the fire marshals are saying this is a new kind of fire. We don't have fires like this. So
that's right. Now,
that right there, to me, I'm a guy that always has been understanding these visions that were given to John and Daniel that were sealed up, and I think that I think that is something supernatural happening. And I couldn't tell you exactly what, but I believe that there's two witnesses, John and Daniel, prophesying or giving testimony about their visions in the spirit. And it is in Revelation 11.
Even though it could be a directed energy weapon from a plane, I believe that's very likely, and it could be mentioned in scripture in some way. We don't know for sure. What is happening right now at this point in human history is about 3 people per second have an end of their human experience. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. 3 people per second. That's a lot of people vanishing from this life experience. So when we look at the different events that are going on, there's a lot of them. Well, people meet the end of their life in a lot of different ways. So in the context of the conspiracy theories, there's intentional deception that's disseminated along with it.
I agree.
So like even I was in another video on the Daily Show where Lewis Black on the Back in Black segment, he's a comedian, and he's got people laughing about, I thought my tax dollars were spent murdering monkeys. And in the same context, he's talking about how absurd it was that I said, do you feel yourself spinning, wobbling, or gyrating? Once again, that line has gone out there and heard by millions of people. Well, some of them are hearing that thinking, I don't feel any movement. I've got something to show you. I'm going to turn my camera on, and I want to show you. It's something I actually had at the at the conference, and it was at the not exactly normal video. This right here is a bell. Can you see the little clanger in there? Not moving?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay. Now it's a real bell. And people might think, well, that's an absurd thing. No, it's not. It's reality, baby. I got a water jug right there. Let's see, can you see it? I'm trying to. I'm gonna make my camera bigger. There it is. That's not moving.
Yeah.
It's not moving at all. Now it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the simplicity of it. Oh, my coffee cup and a naked cat. There she is. Yeah, that's Pearl. Even though she's running around on the table, not moving. I'm going to have games of pool in here. I'll be taught. Whoop! Oh no! Now what's going on? Oh, can I do that?
Your camera flipped.
Oh yeah, it did. Oh, upside down naked kitties walking on the pool table. How's that possible?
She's the right way up. She's the right way up, Robert.
So you know what? What one thing that oh, go ahead. You know how, and I'm definitely not ripping on Jaron or anyone that's thinking kind of, the way that he is, but it is something that's kind of been heavy on my heart for a long time. That, and I don't know Jaron. I've never talked to him, but I've watched his shows and stuff. But if these guys took the time to look at some of the videos that I've been putting out about the foretelling of this space program, there's things that, I mean, in Daniel 8, Daniel describes visually. He describes visually. It's obviously it's in an older, like an older language. He's not using the word rocket. He's using the word ram, which is like could be an animal, but it can also be like a post or a column or a pilaster.
So Joe, what I want to interrupt for a very important reason, and that is because you are reading that and coming away with the belief that would, it sounds like you believe that would help open their eyes. I go back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. They refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion.
Yep.
It goes right back to, okay, congratulations. You figured out that 9/11 was an inside job. Great. Good deal. It was impossible. What we were told happened.
It was a Satan job.
Yeah. You realize that we didn't land on the moon? Wonderful. They were lying about that. Now, when it comes to Jesus turning water into wine, I was asked that by the London. I asked Logan Paul and I believe Rich from the BBC. I said, "Do you believe Jesus turned water into wine?" He said, "Oh, I'm not sure." I said, "Well, I believe he did, but I'll tell you what. I know for sure he turned whiskey into water for me." I had
Amen. There you go.
I had a half-gallon Crown Royal bottle there. This is a big deal. People are gonna see what they want. They're going to believe the lie that they want to believe. God is going to help them do that, as best I can tell.
They're going to invest in it.
Yeah. So when you look at, you're looking at a new man. I'm 57 years old, feel better than ever. What's with that? How does that work? And in spite of a whole bunch of people saying, you're not only deceived, you're an asshole. Oh, well,
that's because you're doing a specific job that God. Okay, you know how you were saying the foundation of the world. Yeah, those people, like in Revelation, there's 144,000 people that get sealed with the seal of the living God in their forehead, and then it's those people that are singing a new song that the world can't learn. But why are they singing that song? It's to save the world. Jesus is the light of the world, and he came here. He came here as flat earth understanding to show us his creation and reveal himself to us. I mean that. So, and there's a lot of people that aren't going to see that. Like you said, they're going to believe a lie and strong delusion and not come to the love of the truth.
So that's exactly right. Now, I've got different friends that tell me she takes a lot of teenagers around because she's got teenage sons, and a whole bunch of these kids or youth will pile into her Suburban, and she'll take them places to school events and that, and they're waking up to the reality that we don't live on a globe. And they saw the PewDiePie video and the other ones where they're making fun of me and other flat eartheners, as PewDiePie called me and called us. And
Yeah, I just saw his video. I just saw it for the first time.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that right there has approaching 9 million videos. And so what happens, this is the irony of it all. There will be people that will hear that, and that'll be enough for them to say, "Hey, wait a minute." You know what PewDiePie's message towards the end was? These poor people, just kind of leave them alone.
Yeah.
You leave them alone.
They're just misunderstood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how ironic, So don't need to feel sorry for me. I don't feel sorry for myself at all. I'm just grateful to be aware that not only was that a big deal to be enlightened about the reality of the shape of the earth, 9/11, GMOs, all the stuff that's going on. Congratulations.
I think we have to be careful too. I think that there's a deeper deception that is happening now. Even, I guess what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of people that when I say something about what we're watching behind on my background here, that's a Falcon 9 rocket, and it's stage separation, and the thing shooting the little things all over. That's the booster turning around to boost back to the landing site. Now I have people telling me all the time, "No, that's fake, you idiot," and that's fake. And I'm like, no, it's not fake. You can go to Cape Canaveral, and you can be anywhere near that area, and you can feel it, and watch it take off and land. So what I'm getting at is there's a lot of flat earthers that, and I don't know, I'm not going to say that we all know exactly what's happening, but there is an element of real to space, but it's a misunderstood thing. It's heaven. It's the celestial realm. So what we're watching on the screen behind me right now, that is what ends up destroying this world. The firmament of heaven, there is at the very bottom of it, or whatever, I don't know the exact details, but there's a prison for fallen angels. And what Enoch went into great detail about this in chapters 18, 19, and 21. He went there and he saw 7 stars that had not come out at their proper times, and they basically sinned against God's ordained order, and so God bound them there. He said, you're going to be there till judgment. Well, there's also all these angels that came down and took wives for themselves back in Genesis 6. And those angels, they served a judgment of 70 generations buried here in the earth. And then after that was consummated, then they were led off to the celestial realm again, to the abyss of fire. I know a lot of people.
Joe, one of the I want to interrupt very intentionally just to say there's a lot of people that are going to say that's a bunch of fantasy, Joe. You're just dreaming.
Yep.
What I would interject is, regardless of what people believe about that, we've got blood drinking, human sacrificing pedophiles happening right now.
Yep.
Right now
Yep.
in this world. We've got the biggest Ponzi scheme of the world central bank happening right now, right in front of us. And a lot of people are completely unaware of that. It isn't to say that what you're talking about isn't important. It is. It's like different layers beyond what a lot of people are even going to consider.
Exactly.
There's a whole bunch of people that are all they're singing praise songs to Jesus, and they believe that we didn't come from monkeys and that the flat earth is another deception from Satan.
Yep.
And I'm saying, go ahead and show me all your Bible proof for that. And then we've got a whole bunch of people believing that we don't live on a globe, and they're singing Kumbaya and embracing whatever works for you, whatever spirituality you want to drink your urine and sing Kumbaya and embrace any form of spirituality that sets you free from addiction. Well, that if it's an unbiblical form, then that's not going to end well for you.
No, it's going to end terribly.
So we've got people. That's why I talk about this. There's a spiritual smorgasbord out there where people think they can go to this buffet and dine on whatever they want. And quite frankly, you can. It just doesn't mean you're going to get what you want at the end. The price to pay is too high. Now, as a biblical creationist, that's what I bring to the table. I haven't been told that I'm not going to be asked back to Sun, Moon, and Family United because I'm too biblical. However, I could just not be invited ever again. At some point that may happen. I don't know.
And that's a chance that I no matter where I am, I have to be speaking what he tells me to speak. So yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the one thing that I've learned though, is that all this space is fake, earth is flat stuff. It's all clear to me why it's all happening. And that, I guess, these old prophets, Enoch and John, they both went to this place where they saw 7 stars. And when John went there in Revelation, which would be at the end, what must come to pass, when he went there, there was an 8th wandering star, the ISS. That was the beast that deceived the whole world. And
so now you may be right about that. I don't know for sure.
Nobody knows, but
so that's where I would say that now there are some that would say, well, the Hebrew name for deceive is NASA. NASA's the deceiver. Well, and then some of those people get all ill about, you're taking it out of context. Well, what I would simply say is there's a whole lot of extra hairspray and lanyards holding people up, or wires and bubbles in space.
Now let's be careful on that, because I'm not saying you're wrong or something, but I'm saying that when I was saying that I think that there's a deception happening within the flat earth crowd right now, is like with all these people that are just, it's all just completely fake. I personally am believing exactly what Paul told in Ephesians, that our enemy or our struggle is not against flesh and blood,
right?
And it's against what it says. If you look up the Greek, I guess it would be, it says the cosmic powers of the heavenly realm. And so I mean, obviously there's spiritual wickedness in the world here too. There's evil spirits that were created by angels and human women that are here, that are they don't have bodies, but they're here. And those are like, those are the evil spirits on the earth. Well, we have an entirely alternate and just as deceiving enemy up there. And it's not that, what Enoch said, that they would defile all of mankind from their prison by assuming many different forms. And I'm like thinking, Isaiah talks about, ye are our gods, that say to the molten images, ye are our gods. Like, I think that those 7 planets are just assuming those forms in order to deceive us and defile us. And then now they've topped it off with the International Space Station, which like, there's so many things in those visions that it gets really detailed, like down to the specific amount of engines that fire when the last stage separation of Falcon Heavy happens. Like, it gets very detailed in Daniel, and it's obviously, he calls it a he goat, and it runs at a ram. He's using older language because there was no such thing as a rocket, obviously.
See, in all of this, Joe, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, to go back to what we started out with on the ship, looking at in the silhouette of the sun.
Yep.
We can have what we believe is happening, and there could be something different. Mm-hmm. What is happening for sure with humanity is they're not. I don't need to know about how you think that Falcon Heavy directly correlates to biblical passages. I'm not saying that it may not be. It may. There are people that are thinking they're stuck to a globe spinning 1,000 miles an hour, and that there's people upside down in relationship to one another. That's how far out of touch with reality people are. So yep. For me, I'm encouraging people to be born again. How does that happen? Well, that's a bit mysterious. You got to seek the truth with all your heart. It might mean that it costs me my life. It might cost you your life. Don't know it for says, sure how it's gonna end. Some
I
people
do.
Are. How's
that's that? Well, that's the thing that I've been trying to get people to hear me, and I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm claiming to know something. Revelation chapter 10, verse 7, it says, "But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets." Now, I'm not the only person that's saying that this mystery is not a mystery anymore because of the word, because of what's revealed in these visions. I mean, God gave these visions to these two, to Daniel, and then at the last thing that we heard from Jesus is the book of Revelation. And the Revelation, that book is the testimony of Jesus Christ, and he's the spirit of prophecy. And so right. when I'm finding myself understanding this stuff, I know who's doing it. I know who's showing me. And so what I'm saying is this says his servants, the prophets and stuff. And I kind of like to ignore that part because the word prophet is very misunderstood in 2018. And I guess what I'm saying is I believe that we're in the days of the sound of, or the voice of the 7th angel. And when we look at who the 7th angel is, that's the angel that takes John and carries him away in the spirit into the wilderness, where he sees those 7 mountains, he calls it, and the beast being the 8th one. And I guess what I'm saying is these things are being revealed, and there's only a period of 1,260 days that flat Earth will be being preached. Think about that.
Well, but see, you wouldn't really, I mean, as far as, so when I hear something, when I hear you say something, or I hear anybody say anything, I'm wondering, is that true? Could that be false? Could that be a misunderstanding?
Yeah.
And so if I walk outside and if Joni were to say it's raining and I see the sun shining and there's no rain happening, I would say, well, it's not raining here. I don't know where you're looking. It could be somewhere else. I'm sure it's raining somewhere. So we're dealing with people that are so far out of reality. They're not even okay. So the people in the world that are aware that we're not on a globe are being deceived into believing that Christianity is a fairy tale, as best I can tell. Only the elect are going to believe in such a way that the Holy Spirit takes up residence in them, because they're actually God's children. I don't know who they are.
You know what?
Seriously.
You know what?
Go ahead.
I'm not necessarily like a specific scripture, but what it seems to me is that, and I mean, I know most people that don't see what we're seeing, they hate when I say this, but I'm starting to believe, because like you said, being born again and some of this is kind of a mystery. And
say something. We live in the most beautiful place, really. It is supernatural. It's amazing.
It is.
But it's a really hard place to live if you're sensitive, because most people are the living dead. Oh, so I just noticed the moon is coming up a lot more north today. Just noticed it outside my window. Hasn't been there much this year. Anyway, you know, like, it's like we're the persecuted ones now. It's like people who
says we will be
children who trusted me as their mother all those years. They just think I'm some idiot because of the flat earth.
Yeah, and it's written that they would. Jesus said, and he said this to his disciples, and I believe that we are his disciples if we believe what he said. And he said, you said the book of John, Robert, is one of your favorites, and that's one of my favorites too. I mean, it's so powerful, the things Jesus says in there, and Jesus says things like this. He's talking about those who are with him from the foundation of the world, because they're not bound by time, but at the end of time, at the end of the world, before judgment, they're going to be sent from the foundation of the world to give a saving message to the world, and they're going to be given to the world as a covenant. And so when my life got taken over by truth at first, and then I quickly realized that it was that I was reading about it. I mean, he said, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. And I'm like, that sounds familiar.
Can I just tell you something? Everybody that's becoming more awake ends up being, it seems, to know who they are as a person. And without doing that, we can't help anyone else. Well, there's people like Robert, Patricia, me. There's a list of them. We've got Trinity 4, he's coming on. There's people in the chat room. We had, who did we have last night? I can't even think now. Last night it seems like Paul on the plane. Another person, just on and on. We just want to help, and we can't help it.
Yeah.
Well, and part of the dynamic that I see with this too is that for me personally, each day is a bit of an adventure, and I don't really know what is going to happen, what is going to be the emphasis of it, and it's not because of approval of others. In fact, sometimes disapproval is I wouldn't say that it drives me. It's like part of the experience. It's part of the challenge.
Something drives you because you're there about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I'm probably awake close to 20 hours a day doing whatever I'm doing as far as, you know, either the videography or the preparing for it. But then there's more than that. It's even when I'm sleeping, it's not that I'm not doing something beneficial. I'm actually hearing God's word then too.
Me too.
Or meditate. You know, I like to listen to the audio Bible when I'm sleeping. And so it's perpetual, and it's a power that exceeds anything that I've ever been exposed to or experienced. I may have been exposed to it, maybe brushed alongside people that were truly born again. What's happened with me is interesting in that I've been changed. I'm not the guy that I was. That's what's hard for people close to me to understand or to accept.
I'm not sure if we've overly changed that much ourselves. It's them who've changed. They're just getting uglier and more narcissistic. Like the person in the chat room, 1.5V, who's come in 3 times and will not stop spamming. You know, what's the point?
Well, you know what? You know what I think, Karen? I got
20 times.
I got a comment on what you just said, though. I believe it's the exact opposite of that, and that our eyes are seeing more than they could see before, right? Because
I know that I do. I mean, I see it far different than I used to.
We've seen more, but we were very sensitive people in the first place. We had to be, because there's only so many people that are waking up, and the rest aren't waking up. They
won't wake up. They won't wake up
and argue and do nasty things like this person in the chat room who's just
and that's why I ignore them.
What for? I should just keep reporting.
It's because they hate the truth. That Jesus said that. He said they're going to hate you because they hated me. He is the truth.
So Karen, do we have some activity in the chat room right now?
We do have a little. Well, one person.
Okay. And what's going on there? What is that? I can't see it. I don't know.
Well, just every single thing's wrong for them. But I don't know why they're here, because if everything's wrong, why are you here?
So let me read a verse, something that Jesus said. And you gotta really question why Jesus would be saying this to his disciples or to Nicodemus. He was talking about being born again, right? And Robert, we were kind of talking about that too. I've realized that to be born again, you have to start your entire mind with truth. Like I'm not saying that we're doing this because have the power to do it. I believe that Jesus is doing it, and he's sent his spirit to do it, and that's what's happening. But listen to this verse. It's John 3:11. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. Think about that. When you're having a conversation with Robert, say your wife, or I'm not anybody that is not seeing this and is not willing to see this, or is not interested in the truth.
Yeah.
Jesus can say that back 2,000 years ago because he's trying to prove to us right this moment that he's doing it. And you know what?
So no matter how much truth gets delivered to somebody, if you hear the backup beeper of the truth truck and every bit of truth is right there and it drops right in the lap of somebody that you want to have their eyes open, that's not necessarily going to make it happen. And that was what
everybody's got to wake up themselves.
They can't.
Well,
it's impossible. They need Jesus to wake up.
We're not actually responsible for anyone else. You're only responsible for yourself. We're here to help. Loads of us like helping and, showing the lies and that. But you can't make any. They have to wake up themselves.
But what did Jesus say about bearing witness to the truth? He said, you'd be my. Where is that? That's John 14. He said, but when the Comforter is come, or this is John 15. Sorry. When the Comforter is come, whom I shall send unto you, Karen and Robert and Patricia, I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father. He shall testify of me, and ye shall bear witness, like we'd be seeing it. Then he said, because ye have been with me from the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
What ends up happening, as best I can tell, is that people will look around them and say, "Is that real? Is that true?" Because I believed that the Bible was a fairy tale. I got to tell you, I just didn't believe it was real. And then I believed it was real, and I thought I was born again, and I struggled miserably for over 30 years. And then one day I was absolutely radically changed. And I understand a bit more of what's going on, as best I can tell. And that is, God intervened supernaturally in my life and helped me to realize that I was more of a hypocrite than I realized. It's not that I was just struggling with sin that I was hiding, it's that I was presenting myself as a Christian and I was spiritually dead and didn't know it. That's the most disturbing message I could tell just about anybody that's all excited about how spiritual they are. I've got family members that are high up in the Baptist church, my brother-in-law, and he thinks that, as best I can tell, flat earth is just it's a distraction and it's a deception from Satan. And my wife Joni will say, well, he's more spiritual and reliable than you, so I'm believing him. And I'm saying, well, I know he's deceived, I know you're deceived, and your stepmom who makes pies and talks with the sweet southern accent, she believes it's a deception from Satan. I know she's deceived. And then Jaron, who believes that I pick myself up by my own bootstraps, no, you got that wrong. I tried that for all my life. Couldn't
you know
do it.
what you're doing? You know what you're doing? You are bearing witness to the
Yeah.
truth, to the, how's this? I'll say it even better. You're bearing witness to, this is all foretold. And Jesus said multiple times, he said, I'm doing this, or I'm saying this now, so that when it comes to pass, when it actually happens, then you'll believe. He was trying to establish evidence and proof 2,000 years ago of what he's doing right now in the world.
Oh
Because
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Joe. That's what's happening.
and you're bearing
And
witness. He showed you what happened is you, however, I don't know how he chooses who to show, but when it was manifest to you, you didn't spit at it, you didn't laugh at it, you said, I'm interested in this truth. Is this truth or is this a lie? And there's a bunch of different ways to approach it, but when it was manifest to you, you found that it was not a joke and it was something very real. And so now what you're doing, and Jesus is asked, he's way back 2,000 years ago, he said, you're going to have to do this for me. You're going to have to bear witness. And because the Spirit would come, he said in John 13, verse 20, he said, he said, I say unto you, he that receiveth whomsoever I send receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. So what happened is the Spirit of truth came like 3 years ago. I mean, I don't know exactly, but I'm just saying in my life and a lot of the people that I know, truth came to them. I didn't do this. And he even says that too. He said, you didn't choose me. I chose you and ordained you.
there you go.
So
And that's the point of it, is that this doesn't happen. Well, I should say, John 1 says that they were born of the Spirit, not the
yep,
decision of
not of men, but of
man.
God.
Yeah, so man didn't decide to be a child of God. God decided who his children were before the foundation of the world. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I became aware that flat earth was something to look into, in just a couple hours I realized, oh, I was deceived on that. I didn't even know. And it wasn't that I was the sharpest tool in the shed to figure it out quickly.
You were
I was on
inspired.
board. Well, it was God gave me a love for the truth about a year and a half earlier, along with his Holy Spirit. So when I looked into the reality of this, I was able to see it like right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so good for me. And I thought, well, the church is really going to embrace this because, wow, it's biblical. Well, I was shocked there. A
We
lot of
all
what
thought that.
yeah,
We
well,
all
a
were
lot of
so
what
excited to
we're,
tell people.
oh yeah, they didn't want to hear it. And
But
then the people that are aware about the whole NASA lie and that we don't live on a globe, I thought they would be happy to hear it's biblical so they could be born again. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it.
And
It means they may have to make their relationship legal. They may
it's
have to
exactly what you're
decide
saying.
to, instead of shacking up together, they may have. Oh, and for me, I get tantalized somewhat um, because of my where I am. There's a lot of less than appropriately clothed people for being in public, but that's the world that we live in. And even if it weren't there, there's plenty of temptation all over, even just in my own imagination. In the quietness of my own being at home alone, I'm at home alone, and I'm not all involved in doing something that I would need to keep secret. It is, I'm a changed man. That's the point of it. That's the point of this. I could say, well, I'll just simply say I'm new. I'm not the guy that I was. So at the conference, there was a lady, Gertrude, who wanted to talk about some really interesting spiritual perspectives, and I listened to what she had to say. And what's really a bit interesting for me is to look at what happened to me. The me that I was died. That person is gone. Cannot ever even come back, as best I can tell. And I have a memory of what it was like being the old me. And I know the difference that there is now. And I'm just so grateful that I want to hand out these invitations for an eternity that people are going to, I believe, enjoy. I
That's
love
what
I love to live this life, even though it's met with a lot of opposition from all sides.
and
I
that's something that you can do. You can do that with a smile on your face, and you can do it strong, and you can do it as loud as you can and as loud as you want to, and nothing can stop you. Or your attitude, your good attitude, and your drive to do it is never going to disappear as long as you're doing it righteously. Because what did it say in Isaiah? It said, I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness and will hold thine hand and will keep thee. You know what kind of strength and drive that can give someone, and when they understand that, the arm of the Lord has been revealed. And what I'm saying is that's only going to happen once. So
Yeah,
these
so
these years
like the
are very crucial.
yeah, so like in Corinthians, the Apostle Paul says, "It's not I who lives; it's Christ who lives through me." That's part of the mystery of this. Even though I remember what it was like to be the guy that I was, I'm not that guy now.
You're
And
born
I'm
again of spirit. You still have the same flesh body, but
right,
you've decided to let that part die. And yet we still have it, but it's not running your life. It's, you know what
right.
I'm saying? And so we can live by the spirit that way, the new spirit that we just got, you know.
So I totally agree. I wanted to cover a couple of things that I haven't really discussed on a hangout before. Karen, I've talked about nutrition before, right?
Yeah.
Well, I've taken it to not only working on the nutrition, it's working on the body maintenance. And what I've decided to do with the reverse osmosis water that I drink, I bought 10 5-gallon jugs so I can fill them up, heat them up on the stove, and bathe in the drinking water. And I've noticed a tremendous clarity of thought that's happened for me, and just feeling so much better. And what I didn't realize, and I also got a whole house water filter, 2 carbon filters that all the water that comes in the house goes through. Our house is smelling better inside because we're not gassing ourselves with all the chlorine and other chemicals that are getting removed by the carbon. And I just wanted to touch on that because it's not just enough to put healthy nutrients in, it's to keep the toxic uh, food additives out as much as possible, the toxic thoughts, what I think about. And so it's not one thing, it's all of it, and how will I work that out? So, like today, I put a couple of cups of baking soda in my bath water that I heated up on the stove. And although the water was perfectly clear when I put it in the tub, after I did my normal scrubbing up, it was very cloudy, really, really cloudy. And so I've been daily bathing for a couple of months or a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
And I don't,
we actually got you in the bath one day, and you suddenly thought, "Oh, I better put my top on."
oh yeah, I did. I wanted to illustrate that it actually has quite a value to doing that. What happens is our body absorbs the water, and Dave Weiss, DITRH, did a video on the water fluoridation in all of that and vaccinations. And I understand that we're being chemically assaulted that way. And it's beyond that. It even has, with the chemicals put in the atmosphere, or the air we breathe, and also the electronics that are all around us, the wireless, the cellular, all of that has an effect. And I believe one of the dynamics that happens with our physiology, I understand we have a spirit, we have a soul. For those of us that are born again, like I am, what can end up happening, even though we have the Holy Spirit, we still have an interface with this dimension. It's our physiology. And, there's opposition right in my household. I put the whole house filter on, and Joni was saying, my grandmother lived to 94 years old drinking tap water. Well, whatever. She's been dead for a decade. She's not drinking the water that's happening now. And anyway, it isn't about the amount of days you live only. It has to do with the quality of life. And not just that I'm happier, it's I'm more effective. It's not just that what I do, it's what I believe God does through me that goes beyond anything I could ever do. The amount of interaction that happens in my life with other people that I'm aware of boggles my mind. It blows me away. I decide to leave to go to a half hour away to go ahead and return something that I needed to return or pick something up. And God totally choreographs, as best I can tell, interactions with people I haven't seen for a long time, far away from where I met them. And so when that kind of thing or I go to the first Flat Earth conference, and what I said there got heard by over 20 million people. And some of them are waking up as a result of that. And others are saying, one more religious fruitcake. Boy, am I glad I'm not one of those people. Oh, well, and that's just kind of the way it goes. So I'll do what Jesus created me to do, and everybody else can just deal with it however they want to, because I have more of a responsibility than to try and please another person. I have a God who created me and then recreated me with his spirit, and I've got a responsibility to obey. Now, here's the great news. He gave me the power to do that I didn't used to have, and I'm completely aware of that. And he gave me the humility to realize that I didn't do this. It's a work that he did. So when I love my own stuff, when I love my post and I love my comments, I love what I do. I love what I do and what I get to do. And I love the fact that it's actually not I who's doing it, it's he who does it through me. So it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I get to do this. So I'm going to have to end my part of the hangout pretty quick here, because, wow, do I have a lot to do before Joni gets home. Is she going to be surprised? Hey, I wanted to tell you a couple of things about that too. Can you all hear me still?
We can.
Oh, good. So on the stove, I'm gonna take you for a walk over there and show you. On the stove, what I've been doing is pretty typically keeping it's the heating season here. So we've got every now and again the heater will need to run. And I've got hot water on the stove, but it's not just any water. It's this water here that's created by the reverse osmosis system. And it fills a little pressure tank. Obviously, that's not enough to take a bath in, but that would be, you see. And then, so like when I mopped the floor this morning, I use a mop with a little hot purified water and baking soda in it. I mix it up in here. Here's a picture of our three sons, probably about 20 years ago. Isn't that something?
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, it's special. Here's the jug that was on the Not Exactly Normal. I took it to Denver.
I think I saw that there.
Oh yeah, it works really good. It works really good. That's part of the deal with all this, is that I'm a changed man. I'm a new man. I'm not the guy that I used to be, and I feel better than I ever have. And that's a big deal, because I didn't want to live anymore. So part of the idea of this is, what do I put in my eyes? What do I put in my ears? What do I think about? So there's a lot of bitter, angry people that are unfortunately polluting their body with that negative focus, and they can't help themselves. I think it's more like what ends up happening is when people say, you know what, I don't agree with Robert's Jesus. I think that it's just awful that this or that. They'll come up, what about the pedophile priests? What about this or that? I would say, well, I'm not encouraging any child rape or pedophilia. That's not, Catholicism isn't biblical Christianity. I didn't have anything to do with the crusades that happened before I was in this world, and that wasn't biblical anyway. What I would simply say is I know what it was like to be a man that struggled with the lack of power to do what I believed I should do. And not only that, I didn't realize that I wasn't born again. I thought I was. I went to church, I was baptized, rededicated, did a lot of that stuff. And I still didn't have the power to obey the way I do today. And so rather than try and please this person or that person, I just do what I believe Jesus created me to do. And he makes me real happy for doing that. It's enough. He's enough. Y'all, not you all, but I mean, people can just do the best they can. And when that's not good enough, I would say look beyond. Look to the creator of the world that we live in to ask the serious question, is what Robert's saying true? I would encourage you to do that. Is the Bible really true? Ever since I've been coming on Sun and Moon, I've been talking about this. I get calls from people all over the world. My life is very rich. I've got a lot of encouragement and discouragement that happens from people all around. And the most important aspect of all this is God makes it all worthwhile in spite of all of that. So,
And we love you, Robert. We love you. And
hey, thank you. Thank you.
Robert, because when there's a lot of photography, the two people I use the most work from is Joe and Robert.
Amen.
Thank you. Well, the biggest reason for me being able to even do that is because I know I've got an inside connection with the producer of the world we live in.
Yes, you do. That's awesome.
He created this place and he recreated me, and he just wants me to show people the world that we actually live in. So thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure. Before I let you go, are there any other questions or comments y'all want to give me?
Well, I will message you anyway, as I do, but Merry Flatmas Day, Robert.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I celebrate the birth of Christ every day. It's a real joy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And
you're
we'll
awesome,
be in touch,
Robert.
okay?
I enjoy hearing you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert. Much love, Robert. Mwah.
He's awesome.
He does. He has some amazing footage as well,
Yeah.
And he's a friend of mine. I speak to Robert quite a lot. But I just wanted to say something, and thank you, Robert, if he's listening in the background. I just want to say something that I so would like. I didn't get the information. It was given to me about this day when you have to watch the moon when it's going on the Tropic of Cancer in Capricorn, because it'll go south, then it'll go north, and then it'll go west. And it drags the stars. Well, I saw it twice last year in 1 month, but I haven't managed to. That person who gave me the stuff, they went a bit quiet. So I haven't managed to find it myself. But I was just looking up because I want to know when the moon goes to the Tropic of Cancer in Capricorn, because that's when it drags the stars. But it actually is solstice day on Saturday, and there will be a full moon, and there's some other stars and things around. So it's a very eventful day up there on the 22nd.
22nd?
Solstice day.
Okay. Yeah, and that's something I don't know very much about, like the, how they, on the map, they have all that summer, winter, and all that. I've come to the conclusion, this is my own personal little thing, I've come to the conclusion that if if we're going to try to put something like the place we live in, that is definitely not just a rock with some dirt on it. It's a lot more than that. We can't take that and categorize it as a image, like a map or a model. No, the way that we want to look at our map or the model of the flat earth is the one that's underneath our feet. Then when we open the front door and we look outside and we walk out there, that's our model. You know what I'm saying? That's the map. I don't think we can do it justice trying to put it into a globe or trying to put it into a flat map with obviously it's interesting, and we obviously people want to do that, but I kind of get the idea that that's like maybe even the wrong way to go about it. Like, I don't know.
Right, Joe, we were a group that supported a map, but then all the map makers were just, well, anyway, let's just not go there on the map makers. They all thought that they were the ones, you know, and that was just part of it.
And we can't know anyway. We can't experience the whole world at once.
About a year ago, that we changed the name from the Sun and Moon Group to Sun and Moon Family United, and the fact that until someone can prove it, we just move on with the people, because everybody can stand there. There's someone that's still the same, or another person in the chat room, or like this, but we can't prove it. But we know we're not on a spinny ball. We know we're not moving. We're not moving.
You know what's crazy is when you're standing like on flat ground, just as a side note, but when you're standing there talking to someone and you mention to them that, well, all of our perceptions and our senses and everything we can ever experience shows us experiences a flat earth. And they'll be like, show me one thing. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, how about first we start with that world doesn't move, and then we can go talk about the ground. They always want to talk about the stars when I want to talk about the ground. Doesn't make much sense to me. But yeah, it's I think the map thing, I mean, obviously we've got an idea of
Joe, listen, you and me are just ordinary people, and we go to that NASA footage, and every single time you find many mistakes, water globulates floating around everywhere. It just goes on. I've just done one myself, on and on, just mistake after mistake. Like on the bit, it was actually the Sawyer thing going to Mars. And then you can see out the back, it looks like bubbles. In fact, someone put a comment and said, you sure it's not like someone with their hands moving or something?
I think it's, you know, that Starman, the car, and it was whatever spinning around in space with the dummy in it, Elon's car. That, to me, what, like a lot of that footage, when it shows like the black background, which you'd see stars, first of all, because the exposure is not off that far. But the interesting thing to me is that there's all these like bubble-like things, but they're not doing what would match if it was any kind of like pool or any kind of liquid or anything.
Nice moment. All I can think of is the Boogeyman channel, who talks all about this. And it's like it's been put in a petri dish. And with all these little things, like they're microed. They're so big, it's ridiculous. It's like there's a petri dish going on, all these things swimming around on it, and they stuck that there, made it look like a picture.
I can see that. I mean, like under a microscope, the little stuff you see, whatever. But I think there's a lot. I think this is a lot bigger. I'm starting to believe that NASA has glitches or the stuff we point out. They have these things that we go, no, that can't be. You know what I mean? They just stand out to us. Well, I think that some of those things are also there, maybe from the opposite team, like from the devil, to misguide us even now. So I'm just saying we have to be really careful what we're calling fake and what we're calling real, and because we're calling people liars. We're calling, and I'm beginning to say, no, it's not people lying. It's people that, well, you know how 5 years ago, how you pictured the world and how the reality was to you. And if you compare that with today, it's completely different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Completely. Well, I think that is simply because you took just what a lot of us did, is that we noticed something happening when other people didn't. And we heard his voice when he was telling us, he's like, hey, guess what? There's a lie.
I can't get past it. It's just like the children's story, you know, with the emperor who's wearing nothing and tries to convince everybody he's got some magnificent clothes on, and then people, you know, what is it? They all know he's naked, but they're too frightened to say anything until this kid goes, "He's naked," and then of course they all, like this.
Yep.
It's that kind of thing, because when I believed the sun was 93 million miles away, it was. It looked like that. It looked like that to me in the sky, like, wow, that's 93. But now I look at it and I think, oh my goodness,
right there.
You're just there. Maybe, you know, Enslaved by No Media, he filmed in a mile on a sign, and yet the sun was closer. It's not 93 million miles away. It's probably not even 9 miles away. In fact,
it's celestial.
Yeah.
And that's like a word that I've learned a lot more about lately in the last couple of months or whatever. But celestial and terrestrial, that's in the Bible too. But it says that they're a different glory. Like, I don't really know exactly what that means, but they're a different, like, we have this physical material world. Well, the world that we're looking at up there is, we can obviously see the light. We can feel the heat from the sun. We get light from the stars. There's planets that are going a whole different course than the stars, but they're up there. We don't understand what we're looking at. It's not material and physical the way that Earth is, but it's definitely some sort of something. You know what I mean? Like, because we're looking at it, we see it.
People like Robert, and then people like me noticing it as well. We keep noticing all these anomalies. I mean, I filmed weird things myself. I mean, I wanted to film the blood moon a couple of years ago, but what it was is, in reality, it's silly on your mobile phone because it's just a blur. It doesn't show up properly. But I took a couple of pictures, went click, click, because my neighbour was with me and she was going, come on, come on, come on. And when I got home, I looked at the pictures and I saw, well, that triangle thing in it. There's 2 pictures of a triangle. Well, it's 4 orbs. And you can see from going click, click, how far it's moved in the sky.
Oh, like because you did 2 shots or something.
Yeah. So what's that? I mean, I didn't mean it to be on I didn't see it. I didn't hear it, but it's on my pictures. Then
there's a lot of stuff flying around up there.
Again, and this little triangle thing going, God knows how fast, because he had to slow it right down. Slow it down a couple of seconds. This thing, or 10 seconds, this thing is still flying really fast with a vapor on it, a vapor thing going on it. Well, I sent that off and they said to, one of the YouTube channels, and they said, yeah, it was an unidentified flying object. But then I've seen things myself, and then I've listened to quite a few people, friends or whatever in the past, all saying, I saw something, it's
always up there too, like it's always up in the sky.
I mean, this one day, right, there was this sort of boomerang shaped contrail. It was a bit more than a contrail, and it was only, I can't say how big it was, but it was boomerang shaped, and it was stood above this wood. So I went down to my neighbor and I said, did you see that? Did you see that thing? It stayed there for hours. And she said, yes. And I said, really? Because,
you thought.
And she said, yeah, I've seen it before. Really? So, she'd seen it before. So there are weird things.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
People don't see them because they're not looking. They haven't got their eyes open.
I'm going to pull up a picture if I can find it. I think it's this one. Yeah. You see how, we have all the stars and their courses that are, that go around Polaris. But look at all these little lines right here. These are, what is it called? Perseid, or I can't remember what it's called. Meteor shower. people are going to tell you that this is like space stuff flying around through space, but I'll tell you what, these are angels. Period. They're angels, and they're not that. Like if it's a meteor that comes in and it looks like it's coming towards us, it's a battle happening in heaven. We don't understand exactly how they battle or what they throw at each other or how they do something, but we can see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they're right next to the stars. Again,
yeah, they're moving amongst the stars, really. You know,
I don't know if you can trust those star trails. Owen put someone on Facebook. He put 2 pictures into his camera, and it gave him a whole star trail. But how can it when it's 2 pictures? And the other thing as well is that maybe not for everybody, but the Big Dipper goes around my house. Like
yeah.
So why doesn't the star trail ever pick up the Big Dipper going down?
It does. Well, you wouldn't be.
You've got one behind you. It's a complete circle.
But you wouldn't be able to get. I'm trying to find another image. You wouldn't be able to get the whole Big Dipper in the frame for one shot. I don't think.
I know you wouldn't, but you would see the Big Dipper going out. It does not go like the other stars. If it's only that set, well, those stars that travel with it. Yeah, and I've got stars going all different directions.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like, I don't think that I'd be able to see it that way from here. But I think where you are, you're actually close to it.
But in America, it's really big. You know, I've said this
you're
before.
farther away from it, aren't you? Yeah, you're farther away from it now that I think about it.
Well, I'm not sure, because you only see a part of it, and it's huge in the sky, and then it dips down. But
like
here,
right now, it goes
around the house. The whole thing.
I can see it right now, but it's getting low, really low to the horizon.
What I'm saying, Joe, is I've seen it go around 3 of its corners. I can't see the last bit because of it's always getting light.
Yeah,
it's just.
But you know what it's doing or whatever.
I know what it is. I've done little videos. I've done little drawings and how it bends down and it goes right up. It twists around and it twists around again, and then it goes off. And this thing is not doing what's behind you. It goes around.
If I look, let's just say behind me here. Whoops. I'm going to try to do this right. Okay, see Polaris. Where the Big Dipper would be, like this time of year right now, is the Big Dipper's right about like, well, I can't see it when it's up here, but it's just getting down to the horizon right now. Whereas like 3 or 4 months ago, it was like up here. So like as the year goes on, the whole all the stars.
Right, yeah, because you only see a part of it, don't you? Well, I don't see it
right now. Yeah,
I see the whole thing, and what it is that with my app on my phone and the fact that what I see, this Big Dipper, the whole thing is going around twice a day. So every 12 hours it goes round. Right. Well, roughly goes round. And this is what the moon has. I told you, I've seen the moon drag the stars. So the moon also plays a part in sorting things out up there. But it's never taking them away or whizzing. You know, it's only moving them around a bit. But it does. The moon does things. But the Big Dipper, I like in Oh, excuse. Oh, I can't answer that. Sorry, got to turn it off.
I've got my little app out here. I'm messing around with Stellarium just to see. Whoops.
Oh, 2 seconds. Just let me answer it. 2 seconds. Sorry, everybody. Oh.
Okay, so let's see here.
Shirley.
What are the stars? I haven't been on here for a long time.
What can I do for you?
Yeah. Interesting stuff for sure. But the International Space Station is a big part of it. Part of the problem, I think. Let's see here. I'll show you guys a clip if I can.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got to go because people are listening to me. No, that's fine.
Let's see here. So yeah, not finding what I was looking for. My computer's really slow.
Bye. Bye. Oh, that's a really nice lady I work for, but she told me a couple of weeks ago that she's just got cancer everywhere in her breast, and
Oh, that's
in
awful.
her hips, breast, bones, and then they've already taken this bit off her leg, and yeah, she's on some sort of hormone treatment rather than chemo and having things removed. So I don't know what that means, but you know what? I think when it gets to your bones, if it's in your bones, that really, really is not very good, is it?
No, it's not. It's not good at all. You know what? That's a whole different subject, but that's another one that is coming to light. It's something that's been hidden, and cannabis. Now, I'm not promoting anything illegal. I'm just saying that in the lab, at the what is it? The National Cancer Institute, which is a federally U.S. federally funded institute. They say that cancer or that cannabis kills cancer cells in the lab. Yet it's a
Well, I
whatever.
watched a video the other day or a couple of weeks ago, and it said that cancer was scurvy, and they've just changed its name.
Wow. I guess I guess I never thought about that. But yeah, I just look at like I mean, I just had a friend or I have a friend, my best friend. His mom just passed away from cancer. And I see a lot of people that die from cancer. And that number has gone up significantly since cannabis has been prohibited. So
You know, it's a bit of a dilemma now because who was it? I'm really sorry. We were talking on a hangout only a few days about this. Basically, I can't remember who it was now. Really sorry. Basically, cancer is just where the actual bad bit goes, and that bit's protecting you. And if you cut it out, then there's nothing to protect you when it grows again.
and that's the thing is like I believe, because you can go on YouTube and search out people that have had stage 4 cancer, and they take the I forget what they call it.
Sepia.
Yeah, it's concentrate, and you ingest it, you eat it, and it's just basically it's just like if you take a plant and you rinse it off with like something that'll evaporate like alcohol, and then what's left after it evaporates off, it is a cure for cancer. It kills cancer. Gets rid of tumors fast. And that it's something that when I was a kid, I was told it was bad. So these kind of things are, I mean, these are planned.
It's frightening though, isn't it, when you're told that? And what's the alternative? To go for chemotherapy, and it doesn't have a very
which kills you. Chemo just kills you. So it's scary. It's scary, but I think again, we're talking about life and death, really. It's the plot that could, you know, I guess the evil villain that could plan something that would be happening throughout 6 generations is just not a human being. Do you know what I mean? Like if I think that alcohol,
I think they just want us to eat plastic.
yes, they want us. Well, it's not, and that's the thing is that when you say they,
Well,
I don't think there's any people involved. I don't think there's people involved in it. I think that it's something that happens invisibly by the evil deceiver that is in charge of this world at this time. And we're actually changing that right now. We're taking that dominion away from him. All of us who are seeing truth and who are doing, you know, YouTube and stuff, trying to spread it because we see something evil happening. It's obviously evil if it's a lie that's the whole world's believing, right? It's not good. But
especially when it is actually a lie and we really are not moving.
Yeah. And we can go, we all know in our hearts when we're children, we already know that water, we're made of water. We know how it responds to everything. We know everything about water. Just you don't need a degree to understand water. You don't need any schooling is only going to get you further away from the truth if you're talking, you know, about something simple like water. You can complicate something and it make no sense to you anymore if you really start trying to, you know.
Joe, I'm going to have to go out to work shortly myself. So we have to finish shortly in the next sort of 15 minutes or whatever. But I just wanted to ask you this thing back about the stars, right? In America, the Big Dipper is huge. And when I went to Denmark, which was a lot more north, I had to go down my friend's garden and it was in a field. It was still quite big, but it was over there. It wasn't going around her house and it was over there. It goes around my house. I was thinking that maybe we were more north. The UK was more north than they're telling us, because the whole thing goes around my house. The whole thing doesn't go around her house. It went round in a field. And
it's north for me. It's always north. It's always north, like way north. You know what I mean? And it's
not like that for me. This thing goes south to north, then it turns round, then it goes west to east, then it turns round. Well, it's up in the sky at that point. And then it goes north to south, turning round up in the sky. And then it goes east to west. And then I lose it when it's over my house. I can see it on an app, but it's getting light or whatever. There's a reason I can't see the last bit. But on my app, it's there 12 hours later. So the stars go around twice a day. Even if we can't see them, they're going round.
You're saying like when it's daylight, obviously we can't. So, yeah. And that's actually interesting to think about. Because like in the book of Enoch, he goes over the courses of the luminaries. Like he wrote them all down and they have these portals and all that.
Really wasn't that keen on Enoch, and it's another great big book to read, but just feel with how the moon appears for me. I don't say it does that every time, but I've seen it so many times just appear in front of me.
I've seen that with my drone. I've flown my drone up and speed up the footage, and you just have a moon. It like comes in like that, and then it's there.
Yeah,
it doesn't come up. I mean, I think we could get footage of it coming up if the conditions are good and you got clear air and everything. But I just think
that's why I just said to you, oh, the moon's there. So it wasn't there when we started the hangout. An hour later, it's right in the middle of my window. In fact, this moon's moving quite fast. I'd love to know if today was it's getting very close to doing its Cancer of, on the tropics. Because if it is, this is when it drags the stars.
Okay, I'll have to look into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's worth looking into because you can see it happen. It moves that fast. You can see it with your naked eye.
Okay, so did you see how I got the ISS crashing here? Check this out. If I do it just right, just about got nailed by that thing. Oh, there we are again. I'm always a little bit late though.
Very wrong if an astronaut's standing there and you look down at his foot and his foot isn't there.
Yeah.
Transparent. Anyway, for people who don't like this in the chat room, they're being blocked as we speak. You only have to go and look at the actual first, the first astronaut coming down and supposedly walking on the moon. He's transparent. Yeah.
Now here's the thing. What if I don't know this, but I don't think this is just my take. I mean, like I said, I don't know this. I don't think that Buzz Aldrin or Neil Armstrong or any of the astronauts, I don't think they're telling a lie at all. I mean, that they are telling a lie. They are telling a lie, but that they don't know that they're telling a lie. And what I mean by that is I think that that's how powerful this delusion is. Like, I think that...
What, you think that they think they've been to the moon?
Yes, that's what I believe.
Well, I'd have asked this question myself, but there's so many cameras hanging up, so many wires. The place looks like a store cupboard gone wrong. There's water floating around everywhere. There's just so many things that aren't right.
It almost seems like to me, like when they're up on ISS and because there's tons of footage of like hours and hours all the way back to 1983 of them in zero gravity, and they're like, to me it's just, it doesn't seem like they're faking all of this stuff. But then at the same time I go, well, I just saw a CGI 3 guys disappear, and they're like, their bodies all went all goofy, but everything around them was normal. And I'm like, we have tons of that stuff. Like when they're ending broadcasts or when it's always when they decide to do the backflip that it all gets all glitched. And I'm like, half of me wants to say, yeah, there's proof that NASA and humans are faking it with CGI. But when I think about that, I'm like, wait a minute. In the last 100 years of the time that we've had all this technology boom and increase, like with the train and with that, like all this stuff, where did CGI come from? It came from them devils anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? So I really don't know, but I just like something tells me that it's not.
You mean they drug them? Yeah, but there's cameramen up there.
No, I mean they
Bling Bling's caught them. There's just so many things. It's a joke.
I believe that if I believe they're going into the celestial realm, and that's why stuff is so goofy. There's no air, no water, no pressure, no gravity, no food, no land, no way to live. You die when you go to the celestial realm. The human being starts to die immediately. And that's why they have to exercise for 2 hours a day, and they have to drink their own urine, and they like all this stuff that they do up there. I'm not going to say that they're not doing it up there. I'm going to say that it's only because of the wickedness in our hearts that brought us to build a space program at all. We're just shooting arrows up at the one who made us. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the way I look at it, but we all have our own outlook too. So, but yeah, I don't want to keep you forever.
We can't get them to tell the truth about 9/11, that.
And that's another thing is I don't think any men, like obviously the buildings were demolished. Like they were totally taken down purposefully with explosions or with like, it was purpose. It was done on purpose. But here's what I think. I think that it's so much more complicated than our carnal minds want to consider. And that something like that happens. Like there's pictures of guys like that seem to be putting explosives up in some of like there's a lot of stuff that, down in the bottom after excavating in like 2008, it was like 7 years later, excavating down there, getting ready to build building 4, and they find what they call a 20,000-year-old glacial whatever thing that you never find anywhere, and it happens to be under the Trade Center, and it's like a hole in the ground, and they build all these forms and they cover up the hole with concrete. I'm like, how did that hole get there? And like it to me, it just looks like the ground got heated really hot down there.
They showed us one where they open the hatch. There's a hole above the door where they've obviously squished this thing in, and then there's a big dent in the actual ISS where they open the door.
Oh, a recent video, right?
Yeah, she did a video about it. And it's
I think they went on a spacewalk and they were going to repair the part of the Soyuz that had the little micro meteorite come through it, or it had the hole somehow. They were repairing that. Is that what you're talking about?
You have to go to Bling Bling. It was on one of Bling Bling's. It's probably not that many videos ago. She just shows the doors. That is a big hole above the door where they've not filled it in and made it look real, and then the actual door's got a bent in it. It's got a dent in it, and then the door.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's the door that opens like to the side. Yeah, that they all come through and give each other weird hugs. And
they don't notice that they're in something where
I don't know.
These things are like it's just anyway. The whole thing's ridiculous. If they were there, they would have some kind of suit on because they'd only have minutes to vacate.
I just think that
an hour to get the suit on. It's just ridiculous. All of it's ridiculous.
You know how nobody ever dies up there? They've been up there for 18 years. Human presence for 18 years on the ISS, and no one's died. You know why?
Mach whatever it is on the rocket.
It's the only reason why they don't die up there is because they're being taken care of very well up there by these devils. trying to deceive mankind.
Or don't Bling Bling reckons it's in Russia. They all go to Russia to do it, all the filming.
Well, and see, that's hard because I could probably I could show Bling Bling a lot of videos. We can find videos, and she's really good at it. We can find videos that have glaring problems in them, like to our eyes. But I can also show you videos of stuff that we can't explain away by saying, oh, that's just filmed in a pool, or that's just fake, or that's just like, there's a lot of things that we can't explain that way. You know what I mean? Just the rocket launches themselves are quite amazing what's happening. And to me, it's actually a satanic miracle that they're landing these rockets back down again. And that, I also believe that is in Revelation 13:13. It just tells us that
they've lied to us about what we're living on, how far away the sun is, the whole thing. So,
yep,
like about 9/11, they've just lied about so many things.
Mm-hmm. Big time lies.
Don't forget to take your fluoride.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another. My buddy actually works for the water department. I better not mention where. And like the water treatment and stuff that they do, there's nothing nefarious there. They have these chemicals because of all they still have they're still running water through pipes, iron pipes that are from 1890 and stuff like that. You know, they're trying to keep everything new, but it's like cities are huge. And so a lot of the chemical that they're doing is because they have to, otherwise they get it's poisonous, you know, like, so what I'm saying is he goes to the water treatment place or whatever, and there's nobody there that's doing anything to hurt anybody. They're trying to actually give us good water. And then, so we find traces of fluoride and it's probably bad. So what I'm getting at is, I don't think that it's always people that are doing the evil.
The workers won't know, will they? Because they're not thinking. They're workers.
But who's the one that's not the workers? Who's the ones that are actually able to fool all those workers? Because my buddy's pretty smart. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
We need to be re-educated. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's
everything. We need to be on our toes, because I think right now, and even in the coming weeks, months, that the deception, even within the stuff that we're talking about right now, we have to be very careful that we're seeking the truth very diligently, because there's going to be a lot of believable lies going on around us. That's just what I'm seeing this already. I'm seeing people that are opposed to the truth within the flat earth community. They're opposed to the truth. They just say it's fake. It's fake. It's fake. And that's all they're going to say.
These in the chat room, but you know, we are a platform and we're here to listen to the people, and none of us can prove any of this stuff. So we have to we stay together. We know we just keep you know, sharing what we're finding ourselves. And if people want to check it out, that's awesome. If they don't, that's awesome too. They, you know, it's up to them, but we encourage people to seek for the truth. Yeah, Joe. Anyway, Joe, I suppose we have to finish because I've got to go back to work, and then we're on a hangout later on with Peter and Pete. So awesome. I don't know if Patricia's still there. Patricia. Anyway,
I'm here.
Hello, my darling.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. That was great talking to Robert.
Sorry about trolls that came in. There was a couple just going for it in there.
Oh, I know the troll thing. I don't care. I don't mind trolls. Invite them to my channel. Maybe they'll meet Jesus.
Anyway, Joe, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much to Robert as well. Thank you, Patricia. Hope you enjoyed it, Patricia, because I know you're very quiet, but you see, she does speak.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. It's been really good.
Anyway, thank you so much, chat room. See you later, Patricia, Joe, and Robert. Mwah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love you all.
Bye.